everyone. I'm Jasmine, and I'm here with Millie and Estefano. And today we'll be reading and talking about our interpretations from the poem Burn by Allison Coke. I'm going to be starting, then Estefano, then Millie will finish us off. But afterwards, we are going to have a little bit of discussion, talking about our thoughts and feelings about our imitations and Coke's poem. To give you a little bit of a backstory of Burn, is telling a story about people who have survived a natural disaster. What is interesting about it is that it has these amazing illustrations next to the poem itself. And Coke herself did a reading of the poem while also having a instrumental music composed. And that was really cool to listen. I highly recommend you do it as well. I'm going to be reading about my invitation, which is called Haunted Memories. The home I once knew is gone. There's nothing left. I squat down, grabbing a handful of the black soil, letting it fall between my fingers. Everything is gone. All around me, there's nothing. I stand up, seeing no houses, only burned grass and trees. Those once green trees that we used to lay underneath on those spring days. The air that was once fresh now smells rotten. I see flashes of haunted memories of a life before. The first time we moved in, the birthdays, anniversaries, game nights, fights, resolutions all took place here, or what is left. Now where do we go when the place we call home is no more? A drop of rain hits my face. I turn my back, heading somewhere. The black soil underneath my shoes leave footprints until the rain washes it away. So as you can see, my imitation, I highlight the impact of wildlife disasters, but I'll go more into that later. Next is Estefano.
Thank you, Jasmine. My poem is titled Cinders. Yeah. Crackling timber beneath a dying flame. Stone walls frame a house where memories rest. The hardwood flooring feels stiff against my feet. I wander, stumbling beside the fireplace. An image appears. This is where we shared our first kiss. But the ring tightens around your finger, and the dream floats away like ashes. As I gaze at the empty room, long forgotten, long gone, a frail wind crawls in, and I shiver. The hearth grows colder, the moment dead. Whispers you once told me reignite my forgotten dreams, but I persist. Even though I yearn for your caress, I'll settle for the warm cinders flying from your burned down place. Thank you, thank you. So one aspect of Coke's poem that I really enjoy is the idea that you can interpret fire as a symbol in many different ways. So there's the destructive force, there's the passionate romance, there's the illuminating light. And what I was trying to do is uh, take the idea of a romantic relationship that began with that spark, that fire, but it ended badly. And so now that same fire that sparked their passionate love has become a destructive force. Um, but that's not the only thing that's involved in Coke's poem. Another essence that I really enjoyed is the essence of natural life, humanity, animals, the environment. And that's something that is also very prominent in our next poem by Millie.
The title of my poem is Die Off. Tossed onto our walk path, gray with dust, lay a stiff swallow, wings pasted like an arts class. In airless on display, legs, wire twigs, up ahead, another, then further up, yet another cup-sized creature between shrubs scattered. The light of inertia on the ground, of airways clogged by wildfire ashes, choked my breath. Tiny deaths beyond reach. There were chirps in the morning, high and low throttles in the garden, whistling pipes, sweet piccolos nestled in trees. A symphony of melodies reverberated. I heard them come, pause, reappear, sprightly. Birdsong at augmented intervals, boughs of mezzo-sopranos, contraltos, double-throated warbler strings, all of them the envy of my pen. But the purpose, said Mother Bird, for poets is only to approximately rewind. Westbound over the Rockies, snowstorm mist buries beetles and moths, depletes provisions, disrupts convoys en route, migratory avian imagery out of whack, like Japanese kamikaze pilots. Flocks plunge, delirious. Withered taxidermy borders the arroyo. Eggshells cast about in blue, yellow, green, gray, hardened feathers. How to partake when a tapestry of dead birds makes no sound? In the lab, tagged by size and color, dressed in white smocks, we throw questions at science. We cliffhang answers, all the while crying. Didn't know groups of them die each year, lose their way, but this year, hundreds, no thousands went mad. Hard to picture a lunatic warbler plucking at its crust inside a mailbox, or hopping across golfers' putting green, looking for grasshoppers to eat. Desperately bobs, but can't lift off, half their weight, famished, no air, below bone wings. We humans hurl stones at our likeness, while thrashers crash glass of high-rise buildings, gill-written, we cannot stop the dying of so many breathless migrants. These mass die-offs beget a million whys. How does it happen when birds fall off the sky? Thank you. So yeah, one of the things about this poem was, the questions we always have when we have natural disasters, that we cause them as human beings, or that's just part of nature. And this was going on when we were studying this actual mass die-off of birds was going on in the Southwest when we were studying Coke. And she starts her long poem with the cattle, with the cattle dying and what they look like. And she also has another scene with the chickens, which is terrible, because you can imagine the chickens are not completely died. So with very vivid visual descriptions. And so I thought I'd bring that to life, because we do have an empathy and sympathy for our creatures, in the world. They're part of us. So I thought I'd bring that to life.
Yeah, you really did a good job on that. So for my poem, what inspired me was Cook had all these characters that we see in the poem adjusting to life after all these natural disasters. So what I wanted to do was take that feeling of what it must be like to go through that. And as you heard, my narrator of my poem was going back to a neighborhood, to a home that is gone. And she is relieving all these flashes of memories that once took place at that home where she created her family and all the stuff that happened. But now, where does she go when her home is gone?
Yeah, that's a very interesting point that you bring up, Jasmine. There is a lot of very vivid destruction that Coke is able to paint. There's actually quote that I wanted to read. It's on page 15. You have the book, but it goes, "We're still missing 125 head from Rock House fire, 74 from the leased for farmland. Neighbors keep a lookout, nothing." So, like you said, Coke focuses on very different perspectives. There's a lot of characters in the poem, right? But by giving you a specific number, she's telling you, like, it's not just like one person, it's not just one individual. There's 125 individual perspectives that are suffering. There are 74 individual people who are witnessing this natural destruction, and for one reason or another are just unable to help or unable to come together and do something. It's um, it's an idea that is both, it fills me with despair, but it's also kind of hopeful because like you see all of these people gathering together as a mass and just like trying to survive this together as human beings.
Yeah, you really do emphasize with um, what people are going through, because she did interview people in order to write this poem, which I thought is just a nice touch for an author to do, to take the time to interview people and to write a piece of literature to tell their story.
Right. And I think there was also a little bit of a social commentary, like when you were saying, Estefano, when she says like, that maybe people from outside weren't paying attention and helping them as they could, but they themselves were there living it in together. And I do think that the poem in the end opens up the possibility of there being a change for the better.
That's true.
If I had it here, I would read it, but I think that she ends it that way.
Yes. That's another element I really like about Coke's poem. It's a very visual experience, you know. I think that's something that all of our poems did very well. Like there's a visual aspect to all of them. For example, in mine, the poem is titled Cinders, and the poem itself is spaced in a very specific way to mimic those flying cinders that are like kind of floating down in the page, and that's what I was trying to achieve. Um, but I also noticed the same thing with your poem, Millie.
Yeah, so also the other thing that Coke says, and she's been quoted saying that she always hears the music before she writes the poem, which I thought was amazing. That this background is in her ears as she is writing, and you can feel it in her poem. And I think you can feel it in both of your poems. I think there's a very definitive rhythm, like a beat that comes through.
Yeah, it's very lyrical in Coke's and in ours as well.
Okay. I think we're running out of time now, but thank you so much, Millie, Jasmine. Thank you so much for discussing the poem. Thank you so much for sharing your own. Your imitations were amazing. I love them very much. And Coke has written something that can be called a masterpiece. It's such an experience, and I encourage anyone who's watching to go out and buy her book. But with that, we'll say goodbye. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for giving us the time to discuss this, and we'll see you on the next time.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.